Hey there guys, been a while. So today I'm actually working and I'm en route to one of my sites that I was at earlier in the week. And the reason why I'm going to one of my sites that I was at earlier in the week is because, like an idiot, I left my laptop charger there. I've been managing to get by, albeit with slower charging chargers. But yeah, so I thought I'd take you along with me on my way to the site, which is just outside Milton Keynes. So probably about 20 minutes for me, maybe a bit longer, and see how we go. Also, this is a little bit of a request because my fans out there have been absolutely clamouring for it. They know who they are. I'm not going to name names, but yeah, we'll see how we get on. I've got an absolute knobhead behind me who is riding about an inch from my back wheel, which is always nice on a bike. But frankly, he can go fuck himself, because as soon as I can lose him, I'll lose him. Either filtering or just when I get the chance to accelerate with intent. Oh, he's turning right at these lights, so that's taking care of him. But the route to this site is a little bit of a mixed bag. I could have just gone straight up the M1 and been done in 20 minutes, a couple of junctions, but I very, very rarely do that. If I can avoid it on the bike, going on the motorway, then I do, because it's okay, but I don't have the bike that I've got to do a lot of motorway mileage, because it's reasonably comfortable, but could be a little bit buzzy when I'm sitting around 7,000 to 8,000 revs, which is kind of motorway speed. And also because all I've really got in terms of wind protection is this. Hopefully you saw that. Hopefully my camera is my camera angle's better today. Yeah, but all I've got is that little screen in terms of wind protection, which again is fine. I have done many commutes up to Norfolk to some of my sites, which is mostly kind of motorway driving or riding. Absolutely fine, but it's not the most ideal. And like I say, when you're sat kind of at 7,000-8,000 revs just repetitively, it does tend to, you do tend to feel it in terms of vibration through your hands and through the foot pegs as well. So yeah, also just not as fun. But speaking of a lack of fun, this road that I'm on now is the A5 between the M1 and M1 Junction 9 and Milton Keynes, and unfortunately it is now, just after this roundabout, quite heavily average speed restricted, which is a bit of a shame really, but that seems to be more and more the way that things are going. So just have to accept it, try and avoid the road where possible, and there's plenty of other roads anyway, aren't there? Just means I have to keep more of an eye on what I am doing. on the flip side of this being a bit of a boring part of my ride to this site, I do go on one of my favourite roads, which was a bit of a talking point with some viewers of mine. They found it particularly entertaining when I was talking about my favourite roads. So you're going to bear witness to the amazing road between Hotcliffe and Woburn, which is amazing insofar as it is a genuinely okay road to ride, but it's also very, very short. From the time that I get on it in a minute to the time that I turn off of it, I think it's, I don't know, I'll be surprised if it's any more than 3 miles long. But I think I used to live, when I first started riding bikes about 15 years ago, I used to live in Woburn Sands, just outside Milton Keynes, and this was one of the first kind of roads that I discovered that I quite liked riding. And it tended to be quite early morning. I'd ride it on my way back from London when I'd stayed over in London. So I'd used to come around the North Cirque onto the M1, usually come off. I usually would come off, if I was in a rush, then I'd come off at junction 13 because Woburn Sands is basically there. But every so often I'd jump off at junction 9, come down the A5 again, which is where I am now, turn right where I'm going to turn in a minute, and yeah, that time in the morning I had no traffic. I was, what, 26, 27, maybe slightly more reckless than I am now. You know, I've never been a huge risk taker anyway, but I probably was a bit quicker back then. And it's just a cool road. It's quite flowy, and there's some good overtaking points. And yeah, it's actually warmer today than I think I'd given it credit for. I could have worn my nice new vented jacket, but I didn't want to freeze, and given what the weather's been like recently, I felt there was probably a chance of that. Thank you. I was just saying thank you to the car that I ended up pulling in front of there, just for not being a knob. Sometimes when you filter past a row of traffic and then try and slot in, especially as the lights go green, some drivers really don't like it, no matter how courteous you are. So I always make a big thing of sticking my arm out to say thank you. And then yeah, I suppose I actually said thank you this time because I was aware that I'd been talking. Bit of a weird one, but hey. I'm just going to drop it down a gear here, ready for the national speed limit. That's what we like. Nice bit of acceleration from 40 to a completely undisclosed speed, which we shall not make mention of ever again, and then back down to the speed limit. But this is the famous road. one of my favourite roads. It's got some nice kind of elevation changes and some nice flowy bends. And the nostalgia that I was talking about as well, which all makes it pretty cool, really. You know, I was thinking back. I was talking to someone about biking, and I was thinking back to when I did my CBT. I think I was 26 when I did my CBT, and then 27 when I qualified. I think I'm not 100% sure. It's all quite hazy. But my CBT was done in the November, and I had not accounted for my visor steaming up, which was a bit of a baptism of fire, really. So if you don't know, then a CBT is compulsory basic training. Anyone who wants to ride on two wheels must carry it out. The first half of the day is demonstrating that you can control a low-powered bike. I can't remember if it starts on a sort of scooter type thing and then goes on a 125 geared bike, or if you start straight on a geared bike. I can't remember. But you demonstrate that you can control it, that you can listen to the instruction of your instructor, and then you head out on the road. And it was when we headed out on the road that I realised two things. It was pissing down, it was freezing cold, and I was obviously using borrowed gear from the instructor, which wasn't very good. I realised how open to the elements you are, including that visors do fog up, and it's really shit when they do, because the only way to make it not fog up is to click the visor open, and when it's raining and when it's freezing cold, then you've got freezing cold rain or freezing cold air coming in straight into your face while you wait for the visor to clear. And the other thing I realised was how vulnerable you feel on an underpowered bike on a road. And it's for that reason that I am a massive advocate for anyone who rides a powered vehicle on the road. I think that it should be compulsory that they have to do a CBT on a bike, because I think it would be an eye-opener for people. To feel what it's like to actually be on a bike around traffic. I think there'd be a lot more understanding as to how and why bikers sometimes have the mindsets that they do. Often, I mean, you get dickheads, right? You get dickheads in cars, and you get dickheads on bikes. Most of the time, dickheads on bikes are only dickheads to themselves, ultimately. Go on. Yeah, most of the time, people on bikes are only dickheads to themselves. If something happens, we're going to come out worse off. But most of the time, if we're overtaking, then it's because it's safer. We feel like it's safer for us to overtake and be at the head of a queue of traffic or ahead of a line of traffic than it is to be potentially sandwiched between two cars. Just as one example of, you know, a mindset kind of thing. Obviously we've got a lot of power, but I would say it's a good power to weight ratio at our disposal, which means that we can accelerate quickly. Obviously the engines are quite loud, which can make things kind of sound a bit worse than they are in terms of what a biker's doing. But yeah, none of this excuses the fact that some people are just idiots and they're a fool to themselves, or they can be negatively impacting other people on the road, which is I think it's certain types of people that do that regardless of what vehicle they're in, and I'm crushingly aware that my outspoken audience members are probably going to absolutely rinse me for a lot of this. It's been pointed out to me how Adam Partridge my my commentary can be, and yeah, I'm not blind to the irony of it, and I'm not blind to the fact of how accurate that probably is. But the fact of the matter is that these people that I'm talking about, we were at a wedding together last weekend, and they said to me, I think without irony, where's our bike video? It transpires that they actually sit and watch these on a Friday night when they've had a couple of drinks, and I think in equal parts laugh both at and with me, but that's okay because I don't take myself stupidly seriously anyway. And it's all just for a bit of fun, really, isn't it? So yeah, it's nice to know that someone's out there watching regardless of how they take it. I moan about interaction, and yeah, I get it. So yeah, I'm very nearly at my site now. That's the M1 just ahead of me. I hope this car isn't thinking of pulling out. He is thinking of pulling out. Beer's alright. Woo! Right. Anyway, I am going to leave you guys there. Thank you for watching, and have an excellent day or evening or whatever time of day it is when you're watching. Take care. Bye bye.